Gregory Ulmer writes, "To avatar is an experience of reception." To receive experientially, or at least invoke a muse for reception, I would like now to flash forward back to 1945 and then to 1999, with a character we should, or if not, will soon know well. Our muse is, was, will be a well-noted figure within the publishing industry, Jason Epstein. In some respects, he serves as our Virgil. Avatar, I suggest, would meet him directly early in his career and us later in his reflections. It would help him to see new directions for the industry of which he was a part. It would help revise his relationships to the craft of editing, trades of production and distribution, and with writing technologies. And his accountings demonstrate the evolutions and plurality of publishing as sites of avatar encounters. Should we listen closely in Epstein's story, we can understand much of Avatar as we grapple with a past forward-looking gaze at publishing. Back to time and what happened in between. For if we adopt and accept the challenges of Paul Virilio's problematics of speed on deliberative reason, as Ulmer explicates, these dates must be undertaken as a part of our unpackaging of Epstein's encounters. Amongst his many distinguished awards and honors, Epstein received the Medal for Distinguished Contribution to American Letters in 1988 and Ivan Sandroff Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Book Critics Circle in 2001. He would be shaped by, and bear witness to the evolution of the publishing business over greater than 4 decades amidst the advent of electricity and reshaping of publishing as an industry, a philosophy, or a technology, before our logos would hail or bemuse electricity into our lexicon. Biographically, in 1945, Epstein arrives in Columbia University. In 1958, he joins Random House Publishing, where he would remain as editorial director until 1999. In 1963, he co-creates the New York Review of Books. In 1979, he co-conceives the Library of America. In 1999, he co-founds On Demand Books. Also in 1999, he delivers lectures at New York Public Library that would in 2001 become a book entitled Book Business, Publishing Past, Present, and Future. Although we can engage with his book in a variety of ways, I believe it speaks to the presence of Avatar amidst the decisions of one influential agent and explicates Avatar's relational agency. Avatar is a voice that Gregory Ulmer knows better than he, I, or you about the changing landscape or how to know thy or oneself, mediated, remediated, or post-mediated forms. Ulmer tells us of a striving, of this striving, to become what we are. It is not a directionless striving. It comes to us as prudence, monitored by Avatar. As Ulmer notes, Avatar to electricity is what self is to literacy or spirit is to orality. It functions. It is received instead of sent. We may likewise refer to it as a descent into embodied form, Ulmer notes, should we incarnate Avatar. Ulmer continues, concept Avatar takes after reflective judgment, which works in the middle voice. Beauty is not a property of an object or thing, but a feeling by which subjects become aware of a harmony among their own faculties, auto-perception, Ulmer would note on page 22. Ulmer continues, concept Avatar takes after reflective judgment, which works in the middle voice. Beauty is not a property of an object or thing, but a feeling by which subjects become aware of a harmony among their own faculties, auto-perception, Ulmer would note on page 22. Ulmer continues that Avatar does not eliminate essence, but redirects attention to a different aspect of a scene, to different traits that gather into an alternative pattern expressing and constructing an effective metaphysics. At issue, we may note, is not simply a framing in the sense of a Burkean screening, but an interfacing by which attention becomes guided, selected, and reciprocal. We speak with Avatar, it speaks back, our attention emerges as Avatar descends. Ulmer in his work permits us to speak to several of Epstein's flashes of reason as encounters with and by Avatar, when Epstein says, for instance, that he was meant to be a publisher, grateful to leave the act of creation to others. Of what source was his self-awareness? Epstein's prudence was to be found in several sources, as recalled and performed by Epstein. At one spot lingers poetic influence. The literary spirit becomes embodied in his memory, embodying a metaphysic by which his worldview would be primed. Epstein recalls, "When I became a publisher, it was my undergraduate encounter with books that I wanted to share with the world. I believed and still do that the democratic ideal is a permanent and inclusive Socratic seminar in which we all learn from one another." But can we understand this as an Avatar experience? Let us return to Ulmer, who observes that, quote, "Avatar emergency concerns precisely the relation between attitude and action. We take up this question of stand, orientation, direction, attitude anew, appropriating as a relay for the inference procedure of flash reason, conduction, and electricity, the standard routine as a practice of concept Avatar," from page 56. Epstein offers no shortage of perspectives into how publishing would change under and because of new technologies. As he takes his readers through a journey of his past encounters, he frames these ideas in the present of the book using, on occasion, the past tense of memories reconstructed. On the scene of reading, Epstein notes, "The feel of a book taken from the shelf and held in the hand is a magical experience, linking writer to reader. But to compete with the World Wide Web, bookstores of the future will need to be different from the mass-oriented superstores that now dominate the retail marketplace." Regarding the delivery of texts, Epstein observes that, quote, "The publishing industry, constrained by obsolete technologies in a constricted marketplace, now implements the transmission from writer to reader poorly, but prospective new technologies foreshadow the possibility of a reconstructed industry, one that will, I believe, perform its historic task with unprecedented scope and unimaginable consequences." And of changing agencies, Epstein notes, quote, "In the meantime, writers and readers might as well be patient as they await the birth struggle of what promises to be a historic paradigm shift, one which will not erase the past, but will exploit some of its unrealized possibilities." Page 192, end quote. Epstein's encounters offer insights into the concept Avatar in the form of illuminations that attenuate us to the relation of action and attitude. From these encounters as sites of Avatar emergence, Epstein describes what he terms responses to the changing conditions of technology. In his words, Epstein claims, quote, "What I predicted, in other words, was a kind of paradigm shift in which new technologies result in substantially different ways of dealing with the world, a shift potentially more influential than the one precipitated by the invention half a millennium ago of movable type," end quote. To avatar and to predict are not unrelated terms and unrelated verbs, we may note here, when guided by prudence and accompanied by an involution of the times of memory and technology. A presence and a presencing begin to emerge. In such matters of relationality as a matter of interfacing between agencies and plurality, offer sites of Avatar. What if, I speculated, Epstein does not provide an argument but a testimonial of Avatar, and in our viewing of his work, whether by a Kindle or a book object, may we not also invoke Avatar? By extensions, do these questions in this context speak to the avatars that shaped and continue to reshape the publishing business? So it seems Epstein's Avatar itself has a genesis and a sense of situatedness from oral and literate traditions. Is it then a surprise that it reveals itself as the technological apparatus shifts and the publishing industry shifts? It already was and was formed before for the first time Epstein noticed things about him changing. We may, as we continue to undergo changes in publishing, note that actors, especially those in positions of influence, nudge the industry into new directions. Some term the particularly influential human actors luminaries or visionaries. Epstein, as one such proverbial giant, can rightly lay claim to many radiant successes, radiant in the dual senses of both bright achievements and guiding lights to those who follow. and when interpreted judicially, his remarks invite an alternative interpretation rather than embodied successes. May they not also be productively understood as consequences of Avatar's emergence, first in 1945, then in the years that followed, and finally in 1999. Forward to now, we see on the horizon additional shifts in what was once book acquisition and distribution. That which was once measured by things like backlist become quantifiable by other means, and guiding us forward, that which, as Ulmer observes, quote, must not only be understood, but undergone.